Okay, did you guys get the note? Okay, all right.
So hello, my name is Christine Scarborough, and I am a 6th grade intervention specialist through Xenia Community Schools.
My name is Sarah Pence, and I am a 3rd grade teacher at Evening Street Elementary in Worthington, Ohio, and this is my 10th year in education.
My name is Greenberg, and I taught gifted students in Xenia for 14 years. And now I am a gifted supervisor at the Montgomery County Educational Services Center.
So what drew you to the C4 project?
I'll share my experience first. After 6 years of teaching 4th grade, I was just ready to kind of refresh for me and for my students. I felt like at that point, I was just teaching so much just kind of dry curriculum. I feel like I was just grading workbooks, and I really needed to bring thinking and some life back into my teaching. So I was looking for creative ways to bring joy back and to make it kind of focused. Make it focused on the whole child again, and not just on the curriculum. So I was in a Cultures of Thinking book study with some principals and teammates of mine that had been influenced by Harvard's Project Zero. And I did some work with the Columbus Museum of Art. So just that work of my district starting to build up some creativity, thinking and work is what really drew me into the C4 project.
Okay, and obviously we're all meeting after school, so we're going to have announcements and all kinds of other noises in the background, which is just part of life in a school. I'm Dion again, and I was at Project Zero Classroom in Boston, and I was kind of by myself. I had been doing some Project Zero work alone, and I thought I should really try to start networking and meet with people. And I just ended up sitting at a table with a bunch of people from Ohio. And so I joined C4 really because I actually really wanted to have that sense of interconnectedness. And I really wanted to have some other people who were thinking in creative ways and doing some, having some conversations about education that were inspiring and fresh. So I sort of begged Jen to let me participate in this project, and she was gracious enough to let me do it.
So this is Christine again, and so one of the things that really drew me to the C4 project was my work with Dion. She was able to get a grant for our school, and just dabbling in and learning about the Project Zero thinking routines really sparked my interest. And so she had asked me if I'd be interested in looking into C4. And I have absolutely enjoyed it so much. And it's really been such a wonderful experience. It's just taught me put a different spin on things and how to look at teaching in a different perspective. So the work that I was doing in that class, and then being able to add this to my tools for my classroom and with my colleagues has really been a really neat experience.
So I'm wondering, what are some of the biggest insights about this work that we've been doing with C4? Dion, what do you think?
Okay, yeah, so this is Dion again. And, you know, I started with this kind of exploration that I got actually when I was at Project Zero Classroom. Somebody said that in order to have a voice, in order to be engaged in your community, you need to feel that you have a voice. So I think that that has been one of the biggest explorations for me in terms of that I do have a voice and that I do have influence, and then thinking about the sense of students and what kind of voice they feel like they have in the school system and what kind of influence they feel like they have over their own education. I had not really thought a lot. I thought a lot over the years about the creative part of C4, but I hadn't really thought a lot about the civic part, and I was a little bit intimidated by the civic part. But when I looked at it from the perspective of having a voice, and that with your voice, you influence your world, I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that I got from it.
Yeah, and kind of building upon that, like one of the things that really was meaningful to me, and one of my biggest insights with this work is trying to figure out, I struggled a lot with, as a special educator, co-teaching and collaborating with others, just struggled with, how do I fit in? How does this whole idea fit into the type of work that I do in the special education world? And what I realized is that being able to collaborate and being able to influence my colleagues and going in and practicing these things with them was really impactful to me, that I'm being able to create influence and change just within our own school culture. And seeing others take that information and utilizing it in the classrooms. So the struggle that I had actually became a really big, meaningful impact for me, knowing that the change is actually occurring all over in the school, because we're seeing this civic lens, the civic idea and this being used throughout our own school culture. And it's very empowering, I think, for the kids as well, to see how this collaborative type of relationship really works well. And I think it was just a big aha moment for me to see how that really changed the way we think, and how it's changed the way that I think and I teach now.
Sarah, how about you?
I was going to say, I agree with Christine, and you both have had some similar experiences that I've had. I feel like it's definitely shifted. Being a part of C4 has shifted my lens within education. It's not an extra, but it's just thinking about, how do we look at education and student engagement in a different way? Teaching is so much more than the curriculum. It's really connecting with the students and helping them grow and think and become better versions of themselves. And they do need to have a voice and a place to express themselves. And I loved the Reggio Emilia philosophy when I learned about it in undergrad, and I got to travel to Reggio Emilia, Italy, and see things in that cultural context. And I really think that student-centered approach to teaching and learning is key for keeping students excited and engaged in what they're learning about, and wanting to do something and have that action piece with what they learn. And so, Dion, you talked about having a voice, and I got into teaching because I wanted to make a difference, and C4 gives me that framework for helping students think about being civic minded. I also agree, I was ready and delving into a lot of the creativity piece of the C4 projects that we did, but then really stretching myself to help students think in a civically minded way, which I've learned can be both big and small. It doesn't always have to be global or out in the community. It can even be within classrooms or family units or within ourselves. We can make changes to make a difference.
Yeah. I wanted to just kind of add on to something that Christine said about these insights, and it was that in terms of that sense of interconnectedness, that I was doing Project Zero work kind of by myself. I was kind of in my own little bubble. I was working with the gifted kids. And then when Christine got really interested in it, as a special ed teacher, she works with other teachers. She's in their classrooms. And so as we started to work together, and as we worked together on C4 over the last few years, there was this ripple effect because we had somebody to collaborate with, and I think I felt much more interconnected within the school system because I had a colleague, and then I felt like the voice that I was trying to convey was stronger because there were other people's voices, involved in it. And and that was just really meaningful. That has been really meaningful to me. Okay, so the last question is, how are you teaching differently now? We've talked about that a little bit, but Christine, do you want to start with that question?
Yeah. So I think the biggest takeaway for me and how I teach differently now after having this experience and going through some of this over the past couple years is I really look at things through more of a that lens, you know, like more meaningful. When I collaborate with teachers, it's how can we make this lesson more powerful, more meaningful? How are we, you know, allowing our students to learn more creatively, more visually, through art, so that they're getting a whole different spin on it through a variety of ways. So it's really opened my eyes to just making every lesson more meaningful, impactful, giving students the opportunity, like Dion said, to have a voice and really using their creative side, you know, thinking outside the box. And so this group has really enlightened me on some really meaningful experiences, and just being able to collaborate with, you know, a variety of professionals and colleagues and researchers that share their experiences and ideas, and taking that information and bringing it back to my district and putting a different spin on something has really been a really great thing for me and how I approach my teaching differently now.
How about you, Sarah?
Well, I definitely feel like being connected with like-minded colleagues, and it just helps me not feel alone. I feel like there's so many other teachers out there who are trying to reimagine education. So it's been really exciting and empowering for me. I felt that joy and that spark back within my career and with working with my students. I feel like I'm more relaxed now than I used to be. I slow down more and I listen to students more. I think really looking at artwork, we practice looking at a lot of artwork through C4, and that whole slowing down and noticing has carried through into my classroom work and even into my personal life. Instead of being go, go, go and try to get things done and go just do and work off a checklist, I find myself in my personal life slowing down, noticing the world, finding beauty, reflecting on justice and sustainability. And that's a good shift for me from just a productivity mindset. Within the classroom, I feel I've learned that it takes time to teach students to think deeply. So a lot of our C4 work, we want students to, you know, come up with these great creative ideas. We want them to think about how they want to change the world and be problem finders. And but that doesn't just happen immediately. And students, I've learned, need that space and the time to slow down and learn how to be self-reflective, and takes time to develop the student-teacher relationships. But I love using the feel, see, think, wonder routine, using artwork in the classroom. I do passion projects and choice projects and letting kids collaborate and explore things they're curious about and want to learn more about. I really seen that it takes time, and that teaching and learning is not always wrapped up, and it's messy and it's full of ambiguity. That's been my like anchoring word since the start of this project, was just learning how to be okay existing within ambiguity. And it's been honest, intentional, tough, heavy lifting that's brought change to me and to my teaching. So I'm really grateful for this C4 experience and how it's shaped me as a teacher and a person.
Yeah, I think, you know, Sarah, just to connect with what you're saying, I got really interested in Reggio Emilia as well. And I think, like you said, working with like-minded colleagues, and I think, you know, you and I have shared some things this year. I used a piece of art that you shared, and you used a project that I did with my kids about, like, I think it was why are we in school, or why is school important, something like that. So I think that ability to share with people who have kind of a similar spirit has really impacted my teaching, and also the work that I'm doing with other teachers now, because I do a lot of professional development, and I'm a lot more comfortable having conversations, facilitating meaningful conversations around art, and using art as a vehicle to talk about a lot of different things. And we've done that so much together in C4. And now I feel comfortable bringing that to other teachers, and it's exciting to me to kind of see the bells go on, the lights go on in people's minds when they realize what a great conversation you can have around a piece of art. And then the other thing is just like a really simple, basic thing, but I just love the creativity challenges that we've done. And I really discovered by working with C4, how creativity challenges can just be these short, simple activities that only take a few minutes, but they can really have an impact on the creative life of the classroom or the creative life of a professional development day. So I have really utilized a lot of the creativity challenges that we've done, and that has impacted the feeling in my classroom and then in my work with other teachers, because they're fun. You know, they're lighthearted, they're fun, but they actually bring out a lot of deep learning.
I want to be a part of that PD. That sounds awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we've asked our questions. Is there anything that anyone would like to add as we wrap up? Is there anything either of you would like to say, just to kind of as a closing thought?
I'm just glad we get to reflect and share together. And I hope that these reflections can just spark a little bit of excitement or confidence in other teachers, especially new teachers in the field, to do something different and try something new, and to seek out those connections with others who help to inspire them and help them to continue to learn and grow and try new things.
Yeah.
Right. And I just wanted to share that no matter what, type of teacher you are, or how, you're always struggling to find your voice, as Dion would say, that there is always a way to empower and to influence others. And I think knowing that, you can make a big difference, you can influence others, and being able to empower and impact your school culture through collaboration and ideas and sparking interests and having new ways of looking at things is really powerful, not only for our colleagues, but for our students. And, just using these simple approaches that can really be impactful, creativity challenges, see, think, wonder, all of these different ideas are just very powerful ways to bring out the thinking and curiosity of students.
Yeah, something I forgot to say, I was thinking about imagination, and how I feel like one of the ways I do things differently now is I have more imagination about how things can look. And I feel like I also am able to kind of stimulate kids' imagination and other people's imagination, and just have an imagination about how a classroom or a school or the educational process can look. And it's been such nice inspiration to have other people who are also imagining that. And so we have kind of a collective imagination that I think that we've been working with, that has been inspiring, I think, probably for all of us. Well, thank you guys. And it's been nice, and I hope that we have a chance to continue to work together.